Alright, I'm Marcus Trice, and this is FTT 211-6346 Stockproof Finishing and Metalwork Lab. This is a continuation of the muzzle loader project. You're going to see some videos that I have put together of the process that I used to take it from the final sanding steps from the last class through the process of staining and sealing it. I utilized the lab manual and followed their procedure. As you know, I and some of the other students have not received the stain or the true oil. So with that in mind, I did not want to not have an assignment for this week, so I did the lab manual method, and I hope that that's appropriate. If not, I can always take some oak and show that I can stain it and then use the true oil. With that said though, the finished product for the muzzle loader, it turned out really, really well, beyond my expectations. The continuation from the first muzzle loader class, or lab if you want to call it. Now I've sanded this down, I've stripped everything off, sanded it down. These are the tinions for the barrel, and down here, just want to point out, I had an error when I was installing the barrel and the tinion, and I was in the wrong spot. This one's worse than the other side, but I used a wooden dowel with some glue and put it in there. Only a little bit of glue, but I feel like it's matching, but no, not really. That little tiny circle kind of sticks out. I'm hoping once it's stained you won't see it. And then on the other side, this one's lighter, unfortunately. And it makes it look like it's closer than it is. So I'm not too sure how that's gonna handle, but it'll work out, and there's the inside of it. But now I'm gonna go and put a sealer on this. All right, per the book instructions, this hand rubbing gun stock finish clear gloss, and this is used as a sealer per the book. I have a container, I'm gonna mix it in, and then I have some mineral spirits. It's gonna be about 10%, and then this, and I have a brush for putting it on. You gotta use a knife to cut this off, just in case anybody opens it and sees this plastic plug. It says cut out, and I'm using some cheap synthetic, it says chip brushes. I couldn't find the acid brushes, so hopefully the mineral spirits won't make all these hairs come out. All right, so I'm out in my messy garage, but I've hung this up, and now I'm gonna stand. It's a little high, so I'm gonna have to use a step ladder, but I just wanted to be able to walk all the way around it and get all the nooks and crannies. All right, so it's swinging here, but I put the sealer on. I think I put enough on. I know I gotta do a second coat. I gotta let it dry. And there's that spot. The sealer kind of magnified it a little bit. Dang it. Well, it is my first one, so. And then on the other side, yeah, let's see. I'm hoping that the stain may cover it, but bummer. All right, so here it is dried. It's only been maybe 40 minutes, and I see, I don't know what that is. It's smooth, but it's a mark on the wood, and there's that repair that I did. And this is just the sealer. I don't know what that is. I mean, it's so smooth. It's not an indentation or nothing. There's another one. That's where that repair is. And really dark right here. I don't know why. Huh, that's interesting. Okay, so I've been polishing the brass with 400 grit. Trying to take out some of the marks on them. These are interesting because they're hard to sand because they're round, but they seem to have had almost like a coating on them. This one was a toughie. This is like a satin finish. I could probably work on it more, but I feel like the sandpaper is not going to make it shiny. It's just going to keep making it more that kind of brushed brass look. And that's basically what it looks like. It looks like brushed brass. So I think that's what we're going for. But I removed all of the marks out of them. Now, what's something interesting though is, and I didn't mention anything about these, but I'm going to probably polish the ramrod. And you can see this one again has like, it's almost like it has a coating on it. All right, so I'm gonna be putting on a second coat of that sealer. It's been 24 hours like the book has referenced. So here's the second coat, you can see it. There's that boo-boo. It's interesting that it's gotten darker around the circle. When it's wet, it's darker. I did have an issue. My holding screw there came undone and it fell on the ground. So I had to wipe it down and do it again. But that's a learning experience. It's got a nice shine to it, but this is just a sealer, so. It's interesting though, I mean, I'm really curious to see what it looks like with the stain on it. This is the method that the book recommended. I don't have the true oil and I don't have the stain that comes from SDI, so I'm using what I had initially got from the first class, half of the class. All right, so I put my first coat of stain on it and put it on pretty thick. So now the third coat has dried, and I have to say I'm actually pretty impressed with it. I'm scared to touch it. It was a little moist in here, but I'm actually pretty impressed with it. I didn't get too much in here. It's funny, you can see some of the stain when I wiped it. It smeared it, I guess, the stain on the wood, and I truly believe it's because of the sealer I put on underneath of it. So it wasn't almost like sinking in, it was almost kind of sinking in on top of a sealer. But again, I'm actually pretty impressed with it, especially because this is my very first job of doing stock, and this is the Hunter Satin, but it still has a sheen to it. All right, so I knocked down the first coat with some Scotch pads, and it looks pretty good. I'm actually impressed. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a second coat. So I have it hanging in my bathroom. I put one last coat on it, and then I put that Hunter spray on it. It's still a little wet, but I'm hanging it in my bathroom because it's warm, and rather than outside in the garage.